Welcome to my channel. You are about to hear short, horror, creepy, and scary stories, as well as dreams, nightmares, and mystery life events submitted by followers from around the world. As a warning, some of these stories may send chills up your spine, so if you scare easily, you may want to watch or listen with another person. If you are alone, then leave the lights on. Told by Old Man Martin.
This story was submitted by a follower from Oklahoma. It was 1966 when I was a very young boy living in a small rural town in northeast Oklahoma. It was a breezy, cool, late spring day. The sun was shining, and I spent most of the day outside playing in the fallen leaves with my friends. Our house was on the outskirts of the town with a heavy wooded area that adjoined our backyard. The wooded area was full of different kinds of wildlife, and a lot of times my friends and I would play in the wooded area and see what kind of wildlife animals we could find. However, we never would go into the wooded area late in the evening, and especially after dark. Late at night, you could hear the coyotes screaming, and the whole wooded area seemed to become a scary, creepy place. That evening, after having dinner and watching some television, it was time to go to bed. Since it was a breezy day, we had all the windows in our home opened so we could enjoy the cool breeze throughout the house. It was my job to make sure all the windows were closed and doors locked before we went to bed. Not only did I close and lock them, I double-checked them every night. I always hated it when bedtime came around because I was a little scared of the dark. Many times I felt like there was scary things in my bedroom at night. I even thought at times I seen dark, scary shadows on the walls in my room. My mother would always tell me it was my imagination, and she said that the scary things on the walls was not there, and that I should just go on to sleep and not worry about it. I would try my best to do as she said. Some nights I would fall asleep and wake up startled, thinking there was something there. Other nights I would be so scared that I could not fall asleep, no matter how hard I tried. Occasionally, when I was really scared, my mother would let me come sleep in her room. On those nights, I would lay next to her, holding tight to her nightgown, and fall asleep without any problems. This night was one of those nights where I was really scared. She let me come sleep in her room. I fell asleep quickly, as I was tired from playing in the leaves all day with my friends. As we laid there asleep, I started feeling again like there was something in the room. This was the first time I had felt this when sleeping in my mother's room. It felt like the room was filled with dark shadows. But this time, when I opened my eyes, I did see something. Standing next to the bed was about 5 to 6 Bigfoot creatures. They were huge in size. My guess would be around 7 feet tall. They had very hairy bodies, facial features that looked like a man and a gorilla. Their hands were enormous in size, with very long fingers. They were just standing there, around the bed, looking down at us. I started to scream, but nothing would come out of my mouth. I tried to turn over and wake up my mother, but I could not move. It was like I was frozen to the bed and could not move or speak. I was terrified and kept trying to scream, but still nothing would come out. Then one of the Bigfoot creatures took his finger and placed it up by his mouth, like he was trying to tell me to shh and not make a sound. I closed my eyes real tight, not knowing what they were going to do. After a few minutes, nothing happened, so I opened my eyes again. When I did, there was nothing there. As I was scanning the room with my eyes to see if they were still there, I noticed that I was now able to move my head. I turned over and shook my mother to try to wake her up. I startled her, so she jumped up and said, "What is the matter?" I told my mother what I had seen and that I could not move or speak. She laughed and told me that I was just dreaming and to go back to sleep. I tried to explain to her that it was not a dream. It was real, and I know what I saw. She again told me that I was just dreaming and to go back to sleep. My mother went back to sleep, but I was still scared and was not able to. I just laid there and kept looking all around the room to make sure the Bigfoot creatures were not there. Then suddenly, I noticed that the window in the bedroom was open and the night breeze was blowing the curtains. I woke my mother back up to show her that the window and the curtains were blowing, but she said that I must have forgotten to check that one before I went to bed. I know I checked it, as I made sure I checked and double-checked every window and door in the house before going to bed. I know it was not a dream, and it now has been over 50 years since this scary night, and I remember it as if it had just happened
yesterday. It was no dream.